My name is Ken Shaw. I'm the CEO of SOS Online Backup, and welcome to an ongoing series of webinars we do here at the company every week, or most weeks I should say. And these webinars are really focused on the SOS Partner Program and are designed for both current partners of SOS and prospective partners, people who are considering becoming partners. We'll take a brief tour of SOS's company history and then look at the backup industry as it has existed, the migration to online backup underway. Then we'll look with some measure of detail at the SOS technology stack and the SOS Online Backup product. And then most importantly, the partner program and how you can become a partner of SOS. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. The presentation usually goes for about 30 minutes, and then we do Q&A after that. The details of the Kindle promotion will be announced at the end of the presentation, so stick around for that. And the audience, as I mentioned, is either current or prospective partners, which really means any sort of IT services or products company, anybody who's in the business of selling IT goods or services to consumers or small businesses. And that usually means anyone from ISPs or independent software companies through to small IT shops and break-fix shops. We'll be taking questions throughout as well, and for those of you who've already used the questions feature of GoToWebinar to let me know that the AV is working, thank you for that. And I'd encourage you all to keep using it and make the session as dynamic as possible. So I'll tailor the presentation to topics that you'd like to hear about, and I'll answer questions starting from right now. So please don't be shy. We collectively, we the company and you, the audience participants, we get the most out of these sessions when they're interactive. And so my first question to the audience is, can I get a show of virtual hands as to whether you're an existing partner or a prospective partner? That's always very useful for me to know at the outset to know sort of who I'm speaking to. So if you can just type existing or prospective into the questions tool, that would be very helpful. Great, and while you're all doing that, I will get this PowerPoint working. Okay, we're getting lots of feedback there. Keep it coming. That's terrific. Thank you. Lots of prospective partners and existing partners here today, so we'll have a mix of questions, no doubt. So briefly, who is SOS? We've been around for nearly a decade now. Originally in Australia, now we're a multinational company focused almost exclusively on online backup. What I say almost exclusively, the only caveat is we do some local backup as well, but generally, as our name suggests, we're very focused on online backup, which over the years has been called different things: WAN backup, IP backup, cloud backup, remote backup, offsite backup, all different synonyms for the same thing, which is instead of backing up locally, backing up the physical devices that are usually on premises, we're going to back up to the cloud. Two big things differentiate SOS from her competitors. First is really our focus on technology. We've always attempted to lead the market in terms of small business and high-end consumer online backup features. And we've been successful in doing that. We've won a lot of awards, including PC Magazine Editor's Choice Awards you see on the screen. And we've generally tried to be on the forefront of online backup product development. The second thing that makes us quite unique is we work almost exclusively through a partner channel. So more than 80% of SOS's revenue comes from our partners, which means we really don't succeed in this market unless you succeed. So we've got a very large incentive to make your foray into the online backup game as painless and as successful as possible, because we don't grow as a company if you're not successful. Overall, we have grown very rapidly, which I think is a good testament to the success that our existing partners are having. We're a global company headquartered in the United States, but with operations in Europe and in Asia. 150 employees worldwide. More than 3 million people have backed up to our backup grid since we launched it. So very much a well-proven and market-tested solution. In terms of which markets we serve, we are heavily focused on small business, so anywhere from a single-man shop through to 50, 100 seat sorts of environments. We do have consumer offerings, and we have partners who focus just on consumers. We do have enterprise offerings, and we have partners who just focus on enterprise. But most of our partners are focusing on small businesses and perhaps serving a little bit of consumer as well, or perhaps serving a couple of enterprise customers. But we are squarely focused on the SMB market. In terms of what this presentation's about, and our partner program in general. Our mission in life is to get you into the online backup market using your brand. So just to pick on some audience members, Nelson Phelps Online Backup, or whichever company Nelson represents. Our goal is to get you launched with your own private label online backup solution within 2 weeks. So we take all of our technology and infrastructure and know-how and marketing resources. We then run it through the filter of your business, both from a branding standpoint as well as a product management and product positioning standpoint, so coming up with SKUs and price points that make sense for you and your customers. And at the end of the day, it's all about helping you drive incremental revenue to your business, which is usually a very high margin on a recurring revenue base from selling backup as a managed service. On the screen here, we've got a few examples of the type of white labeling that we do, but suffice it to say that anything you see that's got an SOS look and feel or logo on it, it can be repurposed for your company, whether that's a product sheet, like there's a screenshot of a PDF product sheet here, or whether it's PC software as you see here, or also our iPhone software, or really anything. Both software and marketing collateral can be rebranded to your company. And we're really the leaders in that. If having a fully white-labeled solution's high up on your list of priorities when it comes to picking a vendor, it's hard to go past our offering. So I'm a big believer that it's difficult to understand the current online backup market without a little history and a little context on the backup industry as a whole. So just looking at the way we view the world is through this lens of consumer, SMB, enterprise. In consumer land, there really has not been a standard for backup. Most consumers, and when I say most, studies show upwards of 90% of consumers do not have healthy backup habits. They don't back up daily, and they certainly don't back up off-site. Where they are backing up, it's usually with a pretty low fidelity technology, like, for example, a flash memory key that they're manually copying files to, or perhaps their email files themselves. It's all pretty low tech. So for you as a reseller selling online backup, generally with consumers, you're going to be selling into a vacuum, selling into a void. There won't be another technology that you're displacing. In the SMB space, it's a little bit different. There nearly always is a backup solution in place. It may not be a good backup solution, it may be very expensive, but there is usually some sort of backup solution already in place. And that's usually a hardware solution, what we refer to as on-premises, centrally architected hardware-based backup, which is a real mouthful, but it refers to what is essentially tape or disk-based backup. Where that is in place, there's then usually some software that's used to manage that backup in addition to the hardware. And then the most hidden cost component is the labor. So with any on-premises hardware solution, there's a very significant amount of labor that goes into deploying, configuring, managing, running, and restoring from that particular technology. We estimate that the labor cost is as much as 100% of the hardware cost. And we're going to see some actual total cost of ownership analyses in a second. And then in enterprise, it's similar architecture from a solution standpoint to the small business backup environments. It's just everything is a little bit more expensive. So the hardware is generally more expensive. The software, the labor is a little bit more expensive. I was looking this morning at a Dell TL4000 backup solution. It was a $32,000 backup solution, $32,000 just in hardware and software. The same solution could be done by using SOS technology for $5,000. So significant total cost of ownership advantage. In terms of when we're talking about cloud backup, what the landscape looks like, we still have the same constituent elements. We still have the software and the hardware and the services and the support, but it's all wrapped up into one cloud solution that you deliver to your customers as software as a service over the wire. There's some slides here which will be in the presentation. You'll all get an email with a link to this presentation. And so this may be interesting to some of you, but generally tape backup sales are collapsing, so they've halved in the last 2 years, and they're quickly being replaced by cloud backup. So in a recent survey by CTO Edge magazine, 71% of survey respondents said that they're planning on increasing their use of cloud backup for either all or some of their DR load, which leads to a great quote from one of our partners. If we don't sell our customers a cloud-based backup solution, someone else will, so why not us? And that's really the fundamental precept of my presentation to you today, is that if you don't sell your customers online backup, they will still use online backup. They'll just be purchasing it from somebody else, and you'll lose that opportunity. So you should get into the market as soon as possible so that you can take advantage of that quickly growing move to online backup as a whole. Got a question here from Richard. Can I back up my Android phone? Richard, not at the moment. At the moment, we've got backup for BlackBerry and iPhone, but we'll have Android later this year. So from a TCO standpoint, this is a case study we did with one of our customers. So I was just referencing a Dell TL4000 solution for $32,000. This is a little bit more of a modest solution that a small business was deploying. $6,140 was the cost of the equipment, and over 5 years total cost of $9,100. Exactly the same environment being backed up with our solution, only $1,000. $1,000 a year, which means over the 5-year time period, online backup was 50% cheaper, and in the first year it was 70% cheaper. So we're talking about a very significant reduction in capital expenditure for your customers. So then this leads to the question of, well, if the cost is so much lower, doesn't that mean that as a reseller I'm going to make less money? The answer is no, because margin on hardware-based backup has shrunk over the years to where it is now at a few percentage points. So on that hardware solution, the reseller was only going to make just under $500. Selling our online backup solution, the reseller made $500 per year for 5 years, so $2,500 compared to $500. So we've got a solution which is much better technology. We'll talk about that next, but fundamentally is far less expensive for the customer and far better for you, the reseller. So let's talk about the superiority of the technology, because that's really our summary pitch for online backup is that it's a better backup at a better price. So it's 50% cheaper and provides much better data protection. So let's look at that. First with deployment. So anybody who's deployed a tape-based backup solution knows it's quite complicated and very labor intensive, whereas with online backup, simple network software, you deploy it out over the network and you're done. Coverage. One of the big problems with hardware backup is their poor coverage of data generation points. So to the question of, can I back up my mobile device? Well, no, with tape backup or on-premises backup, you can never back up your mobile device. You can't even back up your laptops. One of the great voids in backup and disaster recovery in corporate America is laptop fleet protection. Traditional backup technology simply cannot handle backing up data over the WAN, whereas contrast that to online backup, where every internet-connected device is therefore connected to the backup cloud. Every laptop can back up all the time, no matter where it is, inside the network or outside the network. And therefore, wherever you have distributed user data, traditional backup